Hello and welcome to the 11th episode of voicED. Good morning, good afternoon, good night, good late night to everyone. We are so happy to have some amazing panelists in this episode as well, as we have been discussing a lot for last 10 episodes, and we are so much blessed to find the panelists from all over the world. Before I go ahead and introduce you with the amazing panelists we are going to have a minute of silence to keep us in the moment and to be present in the moment. So thank you. Welcome back. And it's our honor to have all the panelists to co create, recreate, redesign, reimagine the education system. And voicED is a place where we are bringing all four panels of education system together, that is learners, parents, educators, and policymakers, professionals, job creators. So welcome everyone. I am Archana, and I co-host this with my wonderful, amazing friend Mick. Mick is from US, but he is living in Thailand right now. He is a disruptive educator, a creative technologist, and he is actually winning hearts of the children from 20 different countries. Thousands of children love him, and we really love you, Mick. So that's that. And then I start with introducing our panelists today. And we have today a very young learner with us, and he is a technologist as well. He's a Lego master builder, Nivant. Nivant's favorite quote is "Never give up." I love that, Nivant. You should never give up. He is a self learner. He learns new things very fast. He learned because he want to live a good life, very nice, and he enjoy learning in a free manner, like with all the freedoms. A few things he does is, I already talked, he's a Lego master builder, and I've personally seen his videos with his father, who are doing experimenting a lot of things with the Lego builder. He is also solving cube 3 by 3 to 9 by 9. Wow, Vivan, I need to learn that from you. He also plays piano, badminton, because he wants to have all the fun in his life. And he is also reading a book on how to be wiser. You are already wise, Nivant. You don't need to read all these books. And the question he is currently holding is, what do we want from life? Yes, I think it's a very big question for all of us here. So welcome, Nivant. We have Taher is a parent with us. Taher is a parenting enthusiast exploring opportunities at the bottom of the pyramid. Yes, I personally met Taher, and he's such a nice gentleman. The favorite quote he has is, or I think it's like he has written himself, that more the parent are involved in the process of parenting, we as a parent is learning more than we are teaching our children. Definitely, yes, totally agree with you, and that's my experience as well. He also he works in the impact sector, and passionate about bringing change in the lives and livelihoods of the millions of communities at BOP. I'm like, he's also fascinated about how creative entrepreneurship can provide solutions to some of the pressing issues of the society. And he's also like working towards right business models to empower and enlighten the communities he's working with. Question he's currently holding is, if I don't remember what I learned from nursery to 10th grade, or I would say 12th or even like college, should I still do the same with my children? Yes, very valid question. Tahir, I really love that question. Why do we want to repeat all the nonsense we did? So, welcome, Tahir. We have Parvani Davar with us. She's from Indore. She's a wonderful person. I have met in person. She's a very, great educator. She's a senior curriculum architect at one of the edtech institutes. And she is such a genuine person. Like, I loved my interaction with her when she was at Asmakam. The favorite quote she has is, "Education is what makes our life in harmony with all existence," by great Rabindranath Tagore. She is extremely passionate about early years education, and I advocate of its significance in a child's learning journey, and working towards all the stakeholders in that direction. She truly believes that there is much more to a child's development than learning letters and numbers. Yes, it is about their personal, social, emotional well being, acquiring learning to learn skills needed now and every day, not just for the future. Yes, we need to be in the present moment, like how do we lead our life in the present moment instead of worrying about the future. She is also driven by Steve Jobs' quote: "The people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do it." Yes, very true. And the question she is currently holding is, are the schools equipped or prepared to nurture children as they return to school after a gap of 2 years of pandemic? And if yes, how? you know so welcome, Parvani. And at the last, we have a very young energetic youth with us. He comes from a very elite institute, but he is actually doing a lot of work in the rural areas. He's empowering rural youths and working a lot. He is also public policy professional and founder of Vivekanand Youth Initiative. And I personally have actually experienced one of the startup he founded after just finishing his education. And it's a wonderful startup, though he left that and he is now at his roots at his village. But I really admire his passion and his like risk taking abilities and adventurous personality. So he's as I said, engineer by education, and also at heart. She is passionately looking for solutions to big unemployment problems in India, particularly focused on rural youths in his home district. And Vivekanand Youth Initiative is a step in the same direction. Uh, his firm belief is that empowerment, employment, livelihood, vocation, education, and sustainable development are the pearls of same necklace. Yes, yeah, totally agree. The question he is currently holding is, can bridging of education and vocational really result into aspirational livelihoods? Yes, I think I totally can understand the questions you are asking here, Gaurav, and I'm sure that when we have more youths like you, we are definitely going to achieve that. With that, I'll hand it over to Mick to have to like take us through the further interesting parts of our um, interactions today, when we listen to views and ideas from different pillars of the education system. And it's an interesting and amazing journey and experience for all of us, and like as we co-create this new education system together. So welcome, Mick, and it's all yours now.
All right. Thank you, Archana. Welcome, everybody. I can't believe this is already our 11th episode. We will go through 3 rounds of questions. Our learner always comes first. We say this in every episode because it's so often the discussion is had around them without including them. And if what we're designing is for them, how can they not have a seat at the table, or even more importantly, a head seat at the table? So, Navant, you are going to get our first question for today. Welcome. You are the youngest learner we've had on here, and we're very excited to have you. I know that you're a self-learner, but what do you think about the structure of education? And how do you think it might help students, and how do you think it might harm students?
One benefit is that the learner learns. So when he goes to school, he learns. One of the harms is he learns but probably does not remember and possibly does not want to learn.
Excellent, Navant. As someone who's a self-learner, you get to choose some of your learning, right? Does that make it more exciting for you?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you make a great point, Navant. We're currently traditional education is forced upon kids. They have no choice. They're just passengers in their learning journey. And a young learner like you and the amazing things you're doing, you're a testament to what can happen if we give students agency and choice and autonomy. Great first answer. Thank you, Navant. Um, our parent will be our next pillar. Taher, welcome. Um, this is something I've noticed as an educator and parents coming to me. But as a parent, why do you think parents in this generation, especially, have become more obsessive and protective about parenting?
Uh, yeah, thank you, Mick, for your question, and hello, everyone listening out there. What you are asking is a very important question at this juncture. Uh,
Generation.
Maybe my answer might annoy some of the parents listening to this, but I think we as a parent sometimes wanted to just walk around our neighborhood carrying a Times of India paper or a Times or a Life magazine with our children on the cover page, introducing them as the champions of whatever, some Olympiad or swimming or chess or whatever it may be. Uh, all the while taking personal credit for the gifts of our children, using them to show off. The larger problem is, although the focus seems to be on child, there is actually a very, very little regard for the child. We are obsessed because it gives us as a parent to feel like a winner, to get into the child's accomplishment, and perhaps to take credit for the skills that are not ours, and then thereby you know satisfying parents' own emotional needs. uh, I also lastly believe that in being obsessive and protective, what we as a parent believe is that we are helping the child uh, to become to become more competent and confident adults. But sadly, what we end up doing is just the opposite. Mick.
Yeah, Tahir, you bring up some good points. I've counseled a lot of parents when I was a tech teacher, and a few of the things you said rang really true. Number one, living vicariously through your kids as a way to show off your own accomplishments that maybe you did not succeed at in your youth, and then really more importantly, what that obsessiveness does to a child. As an educator, I see the effects of that parenting style when they come to school. You are not preparing them to succeed. You are causing them to be filled with anxiety. You're causing them to be unsure of themselves and to need constant validation that every little single thing they're doing is right before they can move to the next thing. I think if parents could peek through the window and see the effects of that style on their kids, it might, get them to stop or to re-examine what they're doing, because those are the kids who are in tears in the middle of a test because mom and dad told them if they miss more than three on this test, then there's going to be dot 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 consequence. And that is not that's not the style of learner you want your child to be. You want them to be mastery based, not performance based, right? When they're performance based, every performance means I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough. When they're mastery based, they say, I didn't do that well on this. I guess I need to work harder on this concept. That's what you want. So great answer, Tahir. I really agree deeply with your sentiments on that one. Um, welcome, Parvani. These are the questions I got to answer when I was a guest, Parvani. So I'm always excited to ask some of educators to see what they think and feel. What are some things you love about education in its current forms? And what are some things that you hate or at least strongly dislike about education in its current form?
I'll thank you, Mick and Archana, for having me here, first of all. And I'm extremely humbled to be a part of this panel. I've been a big fan of Archana for a very long time, especially for us, Markham and Indore, the kind of work, the kind of thought process she drove in that city is something I really look up to. Having said that, as an educator, what at the moment, as on today, what I like about the education system is that now there are people, there are educators, there are policymakers, there are principals, directors who have acknowledged that the existing education system needs to be reworked at. that is a good indication. It is a good sign that at least we are acknowledging that this is something we need to refresh. We need to look into and we need to see what are we getting out of it? Is it helping our children or not? Are the professionals in this particular system right now the ones who should be, who are driven by the passion for learning and things like that? What I don't like is that education is taken something which you have to do. It's taken as something you have to finish in these many years and then that's over. That's education. It is taken in bits and pieces in our, especially in India, in the fraternity I am currently working at. People don't realize that education is not something you can isolate from the kind of person, the kind of life you want to live as a whole. So this is something I feel can be, we should really work, and I think forums like this will help us restructure.
I love how you framed it that what you like is that people are acknowledging it needs to change. I remember when I answered it, I'm like, what I like is almost nothing, and what I dislike is almost everything. And you make great points about learning right now is so compartmentalized. Let's just do math right now for this amount of time, or let's just do this subject. When life is never like that ever. We are constantly using all of our skill sets all in tandem simultaneously, and yet we don't teach kids in that style. And Parvani, really in your bio, what really resonated with me, I used to be an early childhood educator. Why are we teaching 4 year olds to trace letters and learn? They should be playing, free playing, role playing, developing socially and emotionally, not learning to be good little students sitting in their chair tracing letters. One country that tests very high in standards tests, which I don't love, but who their kids are also happy is Finland. And those kids don't even learn to read until they're 7 because they spend their early years developing socially and emotionally, developing their imaginations and their creativity before we lock them down at a desk and say, here's your worksheets for the day. So a lot of what you said really resonated with me, Parvani. Thank you so much for that great first answer. Um, we are now to our professional policymaker, all of the above in Gaurav's case. Your first question today, as a professional, do you think that the structured education system prepared you for your real life work that you're doing now?
You are on
You're
Gaurav.
muted.
No.
Still can't hear you. Do you have headphones in or anything maybe that might be keeping your mic from going? We could hear you before. For some reason, we
Now?
can't now.
Yeah, now it's clear. Yeah.
Okay. So to answer your question, I would like to take it upon a macro scale as of now. Uh, See, for the work-life requirement from education, I do believe that the current automation has changed a lot of dynamics with regards to whatever job and careers that were available, say, 10 years ago and currently as of now. And they'll rapidly change over due course of time as we go ahead, because automation is here to stay and it will exponentially rise as well. And with regards to, say, AI and machine learning, more and more jobs will be consumed up with such technological innovations. Uh, let's say with regards to additional component of COVID or pandemic, these components have been moving far more drastically as of now. So I would like to point on that the current education system requirements themselves are changing very, very rapidly. And with regards to context of India, with national education policy coming in, there have been a lot of disruptions with regards to the changing requirement of education system in itself. So the education system in itself has to move very passionately. And when I see on the contrary side, particularly in rural parts of India, there is a lot of inertia with regards to what people have a notion regards to education, with regards to what they would like to move forward ahead with. So there is a lot of problem in regards to a mismatch between the inertia of this people or the who are the actual beneficiary of the education system, and what the requirement of the education system is at the large. So that is one part that I see where a big mismatch is happening. And to give it in a exemplified form, let us say the formation of the Ministry of Skill Development in India itself, it happened in 2014. And at that time they had a vision that 29 different ministries are doing skill development programs. How can we bring them under one same roof? So they tried to come up with a good one centralized ministry. But again, the red tapeism that happens, the bureaucracy, the turf war that happens between these people, so they don't let the structural change happen in a way it would be much more impactful or useful for the ground people as such.
Hmm. Well, it's interesting that you're seeing some movement on the ground and even at a national policy level, because you hit a really good point. Internationally, globally, the school system that was designed 100 years ago is designed to create repetitive task workers. Those are the exact jobs that are being eliminated by the millions because of automation. And yet we're still not able to break through and get on the other side of that. So, what are we preparing kids for? Jobs that don't exist. What are we not preparing them for? The jobs that will come in the wake of automation, which will require social and emotional intelligence, creativity, the ability to adapt to change, tech skills. The answer is right there for us, but you hit the point: bureaucracy, turf wars, um, stakeholders losing what they're currently gaining out of keeping the system as is. Those are all the impediments that are standing in our way to change. Great answer, Gaurav. Thank you so much for that first round. We are going back to our learner for second question, Navant, our young,
Yes.
brilliant Lego master and Rubik's Cube master as well. You are a self-learner, which by
Yes.
nature is not competitive. How do you keep yourself disciplined and motivated? And how do you keep yourself growing when there's no one forcing you to do anything?
So how I keep myself motivated is sometimes if I don't do something, then it just comes that I should do it. I should just do it. And the way I keep myself disciplined is also the same thing. And I follow a daily routine. So when I wake up, I do those things, then I do other stuff.
Navant, how do you decide what kind of things you want to learn? Where do you get those ideas from? Like what made you want to do Legos to begin with?
Legos I've been doing for a lot of time.
Mhm.
So like the first time I did it was like, what is this thing? what why am I playing with this? But then slowly, the more Lego came, then I started getting engaged with it. Then I was playing with it for more time. Then I understood like this brick goes like this, then you can make this. And then I started getting my own ideas to make this.
Mm. So the more you learned about it, you started getting your own ideas, and that helped you to want to learn more about it and to keep doing it.
Correct, yes. It's more
Awesome.
fun.
Thank you. Go ahead, Navant.
So
Or no, Archana. Sorry.
no, I was just saying that. So Nivan, for like the things you love, you don't need anyone telling you that Nivan is a it is a time, you should like, or maybe your father doesn't tell you that Nivan, it's been long, you have been doing all this Rubik cubes and making all this, you should try something different or like new things. Like how
No, nothing. No.
okay. So how do you find out that what is the next thing you are going to build, you know?
In Lego.
Yeah, or anything, whatever you love.
So I find it from the internet, or I see from something from the internet and like get my idea. Like sometimes on YouTube I see life hacks, like you build tissue paper holders. So then I thought of so many pencils, then I built a pencil holder like that.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Excellent. Life hacks are a great way to get new ideas and then turn those life hacks into your own life hacks that you can share with people. Excellent, Navant. Thank you so much for that. Our second round question for our parent, um, Taher. This is similar to the first one because there's so much um, of fear ruling parenting right now. What do you think scares parents, and why do you think so many parents force their expectations onto their kids?
Uh, See, I think what scares parents is this entire environment, especially in India. I'm sure Mick can vouch for rest of the world, where the environment where a decimal point can be a deciding factor for the children's life. That's the most scary part here. The future of the child is the biggest concern to our parents, and this is compounded by the educational institutes in our country, because they are always on a lookout for the brightest and the best students to maintain their reputation. I'm originally from a place which is very near to a place called Kota, and everybody around here knows Kota. And whenever me and my wife visit that city, we always find it very depressing, just by the thought of what children in this city would be going through day in and day out. When we see those peak hours of people rushing to the classes and coming out of the classes is just depressing. I would like to add what else is scare is that today, when I was a student, we used to have an entrance exam to enter to the top institutes. Now we have entrance exam to enter the coaching classes who teaches for those top institutes. I don't know how far we'll go, and I don't think we'll be in a time where you need a coaching class to train you to enter to the coaching class to train you to enter into the IITs and IIMs. I don't know what these all things scare us. I think, and then naturally, then what force parents? To put their expectation. One is that uh, fulfilling the unmet needs of the parents themselves. You already brought this point up. I as a kid if wanted to become a sportsman, but I could not do it for some reason. I wanted to see that sports person in my young child,
Mm.
right? Or if I wanted to be a dancer always and I could not do it, I wanted to see that dancer in my child. So that leads, maybe it may be a passive way of doing it. It may be happening through the way the conversations takes place at home, but that's how it happens. The last thing I wanted to tell you about enforcing parents expectation is that, again, from an Indian context where we see a family of a doctors, and of course maybe possible in other fields also, but then we always see a father and a mother is a doctor, and then the children is a doctor. Now why that happens? uh, that's because they have identified that I'm so sorry, that they have been successful by what they are doing, and they as a parent want to copy paste the same formula, not only because it is tried and tested, but also because these parent does not have enough time to invest in understanding their children learning requirement.
Mm. Yeah, I think the fear basis for parenting is well warranted, but the response to it is where the problem is. Right there, it's okay to be fearful of the ever changing world and of your kid knowing more about technology than you do, but how are you embracing that? And it can't be shutting them off from everything or just pouring your own expectations into them. I remember asking an 8-year-old, she was Asian student of mine back in the U.S. What do you want to be when you grow up? And she said a pediatrician. I'm like, what do you want to be? I'm not asking what your mom and dad want you to be. And she said, I want to be a comedian. I said, well, you can be both. You don't have to say, I'm not going to do what my mom and dad want, but pursue those things in a dual way, because you could tell that those things were imposed on her. That she wasn't being asked what she wanted to be. She was being told what she wanted to be. And, that's where expectations have to draw the line. Expectations of high effort, of high moral character, those are great expectations to have for a child and to ask them to live up to them. Expectations for a very specific job or career that might not interest them does not do them any good at all. It stifles them at a young age and keeps them from developing into the person that they want to be. Excellent, Tahir. Thank you for
And
that insight.
one more thing I just wanted to add for Asian parents, actually. So when we were in Dallas, Mick, like Dallas is a place where a lot of Asians are there, and like Indians are now everywhere in US. And My daughter was going to the middle school there, and they had a term called Asian fail. So if you score in any subject below 95 marks out of 100, you are called Asian fail, because the expectations from Asian parents are, and like the kids are forced to score above 95 all the time, in all the tests. And I was so much pissed off to see this thing there, that I'm sure many other countries have the same thing, but I have seen especially Indian parents and like the parents from like China and like Asian countries. They have a lot of expectations and a lot of uh, forcefully they want their children to achieve something, which it's something very weird, and I don't know, like US, I haven't seen many parents like that, but still parents are parents, so
Yeah. Archie, you bring up a great point. There's a direct correlation. The PISA testing is an international standards testing. The top 5 countries are like, China, Singapore, Korea, mostly Asian countries. That directly correlates to the top 5 countries in child unhappiness and depression.
yeah,
There's only, and I mentioned earlier, there's only one country that has child happiness and high scoring, and that's Finland. And that's
Finland.
because it's not, what's imposed on them is a system of discovery, of creativity, of autonomy, and of choice. And that's a great system to emulate. So if your standard is going to be the PISA testing, which I don't care about, but some people do, Finland is showing you the roadmap. Our kids can crush your kids on those tests and be happy. It doesn't have to be one or the other. So you're the top scoring at what expense? Your child's happiness, your child's well-being mentally, socially, and emotionally, not worth it, no matter what their job ends up being, at least in my opinion. So
yeah, and make one more thing. When Tahir mentioned a city name called Kota, it is a place we called is like the factory, where all the coaching classes are there for the premium institutes coaching, mostly for like IITs and IIMs, not IIMs, but medical schools. And it's the worst place on the planet right now, for the students' mental health. So yeah, I would.
yeah, we had a comment from Pushpendra, who's watching on LinkedIn, that says coaching culture is a great danger for mental health.
Yeah.
It sounds like you guys agree with wholeheartedly. Great discussion points, Tahir. Parvani, your second question as an educator was my favorite to answer, which is, if you had the authority to design your own learning space, what does it look like? What does it include?
Well, firstly, I'm waiting for this opportunity where I can get something which I can really design. Firstly, being an early years educator, I would say that I want open spaces, close to the nature, outdoors, where children can move freely. And I don't want demarcated spaces in the learning environment. There shouldn't be demarcation. Children should be able to move freely around that space, and things like gardening, pets. They should be allowed to have some pets and those kind of interventions when the teacher or the facilitator is at the back foot. Children are allowed to play. I like when Nivan said that, when I was playing, I could figure out what to make out of that Lego block. So that kind of movement, that kind of space should be given to the children. The environment should be a great enabler for children to learn. And again, the adults in the room or the adults in those spaces should be the ones who take care of children's safety and just ensure that children are doing what they want to do, and just allow them to continue doing that. Of course, a lot of environment, nature should be brought into these spaces, especially for the early years, because they need a lot of stimulation. They need a lot of sensory learning to take place. So that would be my space if I had to create one for early years.
Yeah, I love the idea of open space, of movement, of including nature, of the teachers themselves getting out of the way, letting the students lead and be there as a support system, as as guides and mentors and facilitators instead of dispensers of knowledge. Sounds like a great early education center to be at, Parvani, and I hope that you get that opportunity to fulfill that dream soon. Gaurav, for your second question, what skills, aptitudes, and qualities do you think current grads are missing as they come out of the university system in terms of future of work? What are they? Because job creators are saying there's a long list of them. What are you seeing in terms of what's missing skills wise?
Yeah, it's indeed true that there is a very long list. I would usually try to divide this all set of skills into two parts. First is the soft skill part, second is the domain skill or the technical skill, whatever is required to do the work. Uh, Soft skills, as in, the critical thinking, emotional well being, leadership, team spirit. And with regards to the technical or domain skill, if say, suppose if somebody is an a IT professional, the person needs to know basic coding, algorithms, etc. So whenever I do this division, I do this on the lines of uh, having some sort of division in terms of responsibility in the current education system. Like, the soft skills, they need to come from whatever the education system that we are having. Particularly, this is for the rural or the marginalized youth. For the learners, I would say it is the responsibility of the learner to have these sort of soft skills by themselves, and the technical or domain skill, they need to be imparted from the industries that directly, so that we have a good sort of synchronization between the soft skills and the domain skill in terms of the responsibility division. uh, I say this because there is a lot of talk regarding employability whenever we talk about the current education system and the problem of unemployment. That the people who are coming out of the education system, they are not employable as such. They do have a degree, but they are not employable. Uh, so when we try to answer this question in terms of whatever current jobs are available as of now, just for an example, we see a lot of delivery personnel being hired for, say, food delivery or parcel delivery. Uh, so whenever I see their employability in terms of what training is actually required to become employable for this particular job role, just a 40-minute training on how to use their particular app is good enough to make them employable. So that gives a good sort of insight on how a person could be made employable in just 40 minutes. So that is one thing where I see that skills can be divided, and then in terms of soft skills, the education system can come into the picture, and in terms of the domain skill, the industry can come into the picture on imparting to them. And with regards to one particular attitude, I feel that a learning attitude is missing after a time when, say, stereotypically we feel that, learning is only for the childhood age or the adulthood age. I mean, we need to, take it throughout the life. A person should have that kind of a learning attitude. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great point. I watch year after year as the love of learning is sucked directly out of children. From a 4-year-old who's like, "Why is this way? What does this do? What is that?" To kids walking in, slugging their backpack full of books, saying, "I have a test in this, and a test in that, and a test in some other thing I'm not interested in at all." The point that I really love that you made, Gaurav, is something that I really feel is the key metric here, and that is parents are the biggest obstacle to change. And the reason is they don't think that new systems of education will lead to those end road jobs that they really want for their kids. And so if you start with job creators and what skills do they want in their entry level employees, you reverse engineer it. First of all, you can tell the parents, this is what they're requiring, and this is how we're going to get there. And then those foundational skills can be built into different systems by educators that are then informed and chosen by the students themselves, right? So, our learner loves to learn Legos. Great. That's a proxy for me to teach you a lot of different social, emotional, and specific skills. I will use your
Correct.
interest to implement those skills. That to me is like the secret sauce of we need to reverse engineer starting from the job creators in order to convince the parents so the educators can design a system that allows choice for the students. That's where I think we're
Very
gonna,
true.
Yeah.
hopefully get there. So I love all those points you're making, and I agree wholeheartedly with that approach, especially the soft skills, which are it's just social emotional learning, and there's no place for it in the current system, unfortunately. Let's get
Right.
back to our last round. Navant, our brilliant young learner. Um, what do you think you need from the three other pillars for you to feel empowered? Meaning, what do you need from parents, educators, or your future employers or job creators? What do you need from them for you to feel like you're empowered as a young learner?
So from the parents, I want them to be more observant, and from the educator. The educator should spend more time with the learner. So because when I used to go to school, then for example, the teacher told me to 10 was 9 times 9 and write that full table of 9. By the time she left, I was intending to ask that what is the multiply thing mean. So she left till then. That's this educator should spend more time with the learner. And from the job creator, they should create more fun jobs and add some more fun to the existing jobs.
I think all people seeking jobs would agree with you, Navan. How can we make our jobs more enjoyable? Brilliant insight that I think we all need to listen to. Thank you, Navan. Those are great answers for all three pillars and how they can help a young learner like you. To Tahir next, your third question, who is the child that you would want to give to the world, and what role do you think you play in your children's learning journey?
Uh, see, we have seen numerous examples of how parenting impact the adulthood. I would also like to quote the recent shooting at Robb Elementary School, and some of the analysts showing that how it has a lot to do with how the shooter had been, what the shooter had gone through as a young child. So at this particular juncture where we all are, this question is very important. That what kind of child do we want to give to this world? Maybe the answer might sounds very theoretical, but in my opinion, the child that every parents wants to give is somebody who is more empathetic, more compassionate, understanding the importance of coexistence. You know what is happening in this current scenario, uh, not only in India, but I'm sure in a lot of other countries as well. The importance of coexistence is not only with other fellow being or religion or culture, but also with animals and environment, respecting different point of views. So I think these are some of the qualities that we wanted to ingrain into the child, uh, for the kind of child which we wanted to give it to the world. Children with emotional stability, also with their own authenticity, to really showcase their own colors. I think that's about it. What we can, how we can help them in their learning journey is that, I'm a firm believer that our children need to live their own lives, not ours for sure. This may be probably the hardest lesson for us parents, because we believe that we are losing out. What we need to realize as a parents is that, when we allow our kids to live out their own destiny, we are actually expressing a deep trust for their worth, for their children's power, for their worth. I think what we only need to do is we need to clear their part of our egos, our fears, our control. And that is the greatest learning, and that is the greatest gift that we can give to our children.
Excellent, Tahir. Yeah, empathy, compassion, coexistence. Those are things that many kids have naturally, and unfortunately, they learn otherwise or they're taught otherwise. So, as parents, as a new parent myself, I know the most important thing I can do is model the behavior that I want. Don't say one thing and do another. Your kids will not listen to what you say; they will do the things that you do. So, if you want a child who is empathetic and compassionate and covets coexistence with others, show that to them from a very young age, every day, every place that you go. And that is what that those they will walk in those footsteps right behind you or right alongside you. So excellent points. Thank you, Tahir. Parvani, your last question, similar to our learner's question, As an educator, what support do you need from the other three pillars to implement the kind of changes that you hope to make?
Well, from the learners, I feel that learners are already very absorbent. They are very open to the whole system and to learning itself. So I think learners, as they are wonderful to have. From the parents, I feel that uh, the education of your child or what kind of life you want your child to live is a very personal decision. It varies from family to family. It's a choice as a parent we need to make within the family and not get influenced by any other thing outside. Maybe, other family members or other communities or whatever. It's a personal choice and the kind of childhood you're, we live. I say it with a lot of passion here because I feel that the kind of childhood I had, which is so amazing, has a lot of impact on the kind of person I am right now. So as parents, we need to understand that how much is good, how much is enough for me as a family, how much do we need, where do we want to go, what are our goals, what are our values. So as parents, we need to decide that. And to the policymakers, I would like to say that, especially for the early years education, we need to have professionals, we need to have it as a profession where you need skills. It shouldn't be being a teacher or being an early ed educator shouldn't be taken as something you become because you couldn't do anything else or the timings were not good for you or things like that. So the policymakers need to define specific criteria to be an educator, to be an early years educator because you're dealing with the resources of your the human resource you're dealing with which you will kind of shape or you might influence as well. So these are my asks.
Yeah, fantastic. Teacher training is gonna, if we're gonna make any changes, teacher training is gonna have to be completely reformed, right? From what kind of people we're seeking to what kind of skills we want in them to be able to facilitate these changes in learning. And I agree with you 100%. Whenever we talk about those things, I always say the students don't need convincing. They're thirsty for a new way of learning. They don't like this system at all. They tolerate it because they're forced to. If you give them any other opportunity, they'd say, yes, I'd rather do projects. Yes, I'd rather use technology to learn. Yes, I'd love to have some choice. That's never the problem. It's with the parents, as you pointed out. I think it's shifting the conditioned expectations from a specific career or job path to what are the foundational skills, kind of what Taher was touching on. What kind of person do you want them to be? If they're someone who can coexist with people and has great social intelligence, empathy, and compassion, they will find their place in the world. They'll be successful on their own terms. And it's a hard thing to convince, but it's a great thing to aspire to. So thank you so much for that, Parvani. Gaurav, your third question again has to do with the other three pillars. How can the other three pillars support you to help create a conducive environment where you can offer a secure livelihood to a wider swath of people?
To the learner, I would say that to believe in yourself, and if I may extend, to believe in yourself only. And to the parent, I would say to encourage the spirit of empathy and curiosity, so that when a child grows up, their heart and brain stays in the right place. I mean, it is already in the right place. It needs to stay in right place. And to the educator, I would say, particularly to the grassroots educators, if I may emphasize, that they need to really raise the bar of their quality of the education in terms of, say, in India, we don't really fail any student. We usually graduate them to the next level without much of an emphasis on actually grading them or actually seeing or assessing them. So we need to somewhere pinpoint on some part wherein uh, a system of where failure is also encouraged, is also promoted is taken in a better sense, so that we overall see that whatever quality output that is coming from the education system is worthy for the real life problems.
Yeah, excellent. I've said several times today the number one inhibitor to change is parents, but a close second are educators. Educators are very resistant to change by nature because they were taught that they are the givers of knowledge and information, it's difficult for them to relinquish any of that power to kids. When I teach kids about tech, I tell them right away, you are going to be better than me at everything that I teach you. Maybe today, maybe next year, but at all of these things, you will be better than me. And then my hope is that you'll come back and teach me some things. And that is so empowering to a child when you give them that respect, when you give them those opportunities, someone that they look up to wants to learn something from them, and how powerful that can be. So it comes with a rethinking of what your role is as an educator. You are no longer the all-knowing dispenser of information, because guess what? The world's information is right here in our pockets, the history of it. So you need to shift your role to something else: mentor, facilitator, emotional supporter of children having their own learning journeys like Navant is on. So thank you to our panel. Once again, just inspiring answers and great points from all of you. It's always such a pleasure to get these different answers through your different lenses of experience and how those inform myself and Archana every week. It's just insane how much it adds to our own perspectives, and how inspiring all of you are. So I will now kick it back over to Archana, who's going to drill you with some rapid fire questions. Best of luck. Make sure to keep them within a sentence or two, or you will be reprimanded like I was when I was a guest. Archana?
Thanks a lot, Mick. Generally, like, we both are so much engrossed into all the interactions we have that we just lose track of time, and none of the episode has been like 60 minutes. Like, we cross beyond 70-75 minutes, but I hope today we should be able to make, at like in 1 hour 5 minutes or so. But
We're closer.
yeah, yep. Yep. So, yeah. So, are you all ready for the rapid fire? And yeah, we can go whenever, like, we can go in any order. There is no particular order. Anyone can, raise their hand and they can speak. So, the first question, and these are the common questions for everyone. So, first question is, tell us in one sentence, you would like to do, in the current education system. What do you want to stop, start, and continue in the current education system?
Current education.
Yeah.
So I want to start gaming classes,
Hmm.
and I don't want to stop anything.
Stop what?
Nothing. I don't want to
Oh,
stop.
you don't want to stop anything? Yeah, because you are not going to school, right? So it doesn't affect you. But definitely you want your friends to have gaming classes. And okay, great. Who wants to go next?
Okay. I'll go next. I think we really need to have start a lessons on money saving and investment,
Hmm.
along, and of course spirituality. What I would like to stop is bullying by the teachers in the school.
Hmm.
What I would like to continue or grow is that the variety of subjects which a school or a traditional education system offers.
Wonderful. Yeah. Gaurav?
I would like to start some emphasis on emotional well-being. There is already some good emphasis going on physical well-being along with our education system. So some emotional well-being would be nice to have. Continue emphasis on reading, because I guess we have been seeing a continuous emphasis since our childhood as well, that you need to read more and more as much as possible. And regarding the stop, I would say that I see very sluggy bags of children carrying their books along. I don't know what could be a means to stop that, but it definitely needs to stop.
Wonderful. And Parvani?
Um, what I would like to start is that we need to understand the importance of early years education in our education system. It has been treated as a surrogate. People in India, especially, there is no importance given to early years. It's something even the parents, policymakers, they just consider it uh, happens or doesn't happen. So that is something I feel very strongly about. What I would stop is that setting, wanting your children to achieve something which is not developmentally appropriate. So stop expecting that, whether you're a parent or you're an educator. Thirdly, what I would continue is that continuous reflections, continuous learning as persons, as individuals, as adults who might influence the children should happen.
Okay, great. The second question for everyone is one thing you have unlearned or want to unlearn in your life.
I want to unlearn the unnecessary slangs. Like
Un- Unnecessary what? What did you say?
slangs, unnecessary slangs. Like
Okay.
bro and AO and all that stuff.
Okay. Very cute. Yeah, who wants to go next?
I'll go next. I have been very enthusiastic about sustainability. So I would like to unlearn the pursuit of perfection that I had with regards to sustainability, because in the due course I realized that we need a lot of people doing it imperfectly rather than few people doing
Mm,
it perfectly.
yeah, great, wonderful, so nice. um, who wants to go?
So
Yeah.
I would like to unlearn the fact that I'm the one who's teaching with my students. I want to unlearn that and understand that we are co-learners.
Mm, yeah, yeah. Tahir?
I wanted to unlearn being judgmental
Mm,
about people, about situations.
very nice. Great. If you were to write a book, what the title would be?
The title would be The Stupid Book Ever. The most stupid book ever. Because whatever is written in that book, people will not do.
You don't want people to read your book?
No, I want them to read my book, but whatever is written in the book, they should not do.
Okay. Wow. Very, very interesting, Nivan. Yeah.
I think if I'll write a book, the title would be something like Seven Ways to the Authentic Self.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
or something which resonates with how to live life without mask, how to remove layers of mask.
Okay.
Again, correlated with one's authentic self. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Don't be a dual personality. Yeah.
Okay, so my book would be things I would have done differently.
Mm. Yeah. Very interesting. Gaurav?
My book would be Why I Learn. I would
Wow.
like to give
Mm-hmm.
a good amount of things, reasoning and
Mm.
logicals about that.
Why? Yeah. Why I learn. Yes. Yes. Yep. Um, uh, what are the top three must skills, must have life skills according to you?
So they should know how to swim because if they
Mm-hmm.
fall off a boat or something, then and they should know how to speak to communicate with others,
Mm-hmm.
and they should know how to earn money, at least a bit
Okay.
for their living.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
I think the three key life skills would be respect, uh, respecting others, respecting other point of views, self-exploring nature,
Hmm.
and embracing change.
Hmm. Yep. Adaptability. Yes.
Okay, so I feel the first skill would be the essential skills which you need on a day-to-day basis. Children, all of us should have those skills. Secondly, financial skills, how to manage your finances, what that kind of an understanding one should have. And the third is about gardening. I think everybody should know how to do
Hmm.
farming or gardening.
Grow, like grow your own food, or
Yeah,
just
yeah,
be with the nature. Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. Gaurav.
I feel emotional well-being. Firstly, second is communication skills,
Mm-hmm.
and thirdly, some sort of digital literacy.
Yeah.
particularly with regards to larger sense of youth who are from rural areas.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. Okay. Meaning of success in one word and meaning of happiness in one word.
Meaning of success in one word is proof for me, and meaning of happiness is freedom.
Okay. Wow. You are so like concise and like crystal clear in your thoughts, Nivans. Really love you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Uh, who is going next?
Okay, so success for me is, if my daughter is, if I help her or support her in leading a good life, the life she wants to live, that would be my success. Happiness too, for me is seeing her thrive and achieve her, her goals.
Mm, yeah. Tahir?
Uh,
Yeah.
Go ahead,
okay, I'll
Gaurav.
go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, for me, success is balanced life, and happiness is learning.
Yes. Okay. Tahir?
Um, I think I have one word for both of that, and it is contentment.
Okay. Wow. Very nice. Yeah. What common practice or belief as a collective community need to learn unlearn? So as a community, what we should learn, which is like very commonly practiced and a
Right
belief.
now, most of the kids they're mostly into gaming, like playing Roblox or on the Nintendo Switch or something. So I think it's gaming because most of the if you most of the society is doing that.
Okay. So do we need to unlearn? Like we don't need to have gaming or like
We should learn gaming because, like, if you ask a parent what if you had a Roblox account, what game would you play? They would have no idea.
okay.
I
Nice.
know Roblox games, Navon, just so you know. I'm one of
Okay,
the few
which
adults who
games?
does.
Yeah, so basically you are saying that all the parents should learn the gaming or at least know the names of the game or like be aware of what's going on, right? So
Yes.
yeah, okay. uh,
Uh,
So
yeah, I'll go next. What we should learn collectively is, I already emphasized this point, is about coexistence. What we collectively should unlearn is our over dependencies on the technologies or maybe mediums like YouTube for our education purpose.
mhm. Okay. Yeah, some great perspective. Yes. Parvani?
I think we need to unlearn that our children are going to fulfill, our children are means to fulfill our dreams. That's not the case. We need to unlearn that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we need to learn to be accepting of our child as our children as they are.
Mm. Yeah. Great. Gaurav?
I would second Tahir on this one. I think we need to unlearn over reliance on social media, particularly.
Mm-hmm.
We tend to be addicted to it to a large extent these days. As a community, as a society, we need to unlearn that.
Sure. Great. Okay. So one surprise question for us is that so this poster of voice has been created that we want to recreate and redesign the education system. So we want to transition from certain common the common terms of happiness or success to like for real life education what we should be transitioning into. And just wanted to ask any one of you like how do we want like where do we want to transition from instant gratification, which is, I think, a big problem today. Like we all are, victims of looking for instant gratification. Where do we want to go or transition from that to, um, and the poster has the answer right there. So just a clue for all of you.
Instant gratification to sustainability.
Yes, very nice. And the growth is a common term we have been using, and it's been causing a lot of damage to ourselves, to our nature, to our environment. So, what we should look like from, like, where should we transition from growth to?
Empathy.
Uh, yeah, but I think the poster has some different word.
To
The
prosper, prosperity.
prosperity, yeah. Yep. So I think when we talk about growth, it's always, cancer is also a growth, right? But we don't want, so it's like in abundance we are growing, economic development, technological development, we want to grow, but no one is thinking about the integrated prosperity of, like, or well-being or anything, so that's why I think, as a collective community, we should be thinking from moving from growth to prosperity perspective. Great. And then we have the last rapid fire questions for each one of you. So for Nivant, it is, what is your favorite time pass?
My favorite time pass is either building Lego or gaming.
Okay. Okay. For like parent Tahir, what one habit your child hates most about you? Like what parenting habit he doesn't like?
The one which he never likes is that I making decision on his behalf.
Mm, okay. Yeah. Parvani, one thing you absolutely hate while being an educator, but you still have to do as a, like, day-to-day activity as an educator.
Um, so when we are preparing curriculum plans or maybe the learning framework for an academic year, entry levels, exit levels, things like that. What I don't like is compartmentalizing the subjects, like especially for the early years, having a literacy session and a numeracy session and maybe a creative art session. I'd like to integrate it.
Mm. Okay. Yep. And for Gaurav is one absolutely must have skill which you can't compromise when you are working as a leader or policymaker with the youths or like with your team. So,
Has to be emotional well-being because it is at the core of work ethics.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
Work. I mean, if the person can come on time and leave on time and learn everything, nothing more than that.
Okay. Great. Yep. So thanks a lot. It was really a great session. And I'm happy that we are able to conclude that within 1 hour and 10 minutes today, Mick. And Mick and I personally thank you, and, express our gratitude to all of you for your time and, sharing all your views and giving some great insights into the questions for, recreating the entire system. And we really want all of you to be a co-creator of this thing which we are trying to build. So Mick, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, I'm always inspired by the answers that I hear. Again, there's always some common threads between answers, which tells me that collectively a lot of us see these things the same way and see these problems glaring. They're always told through the lens of people's individual experiences, and that to me is a beautiful thing, that we can have our own places that we're from and things we've been through and still have these common things that we're seeing that need to be changed. And one other thing I wanted to ask is, Navant, what games do you play on Roblox?
What? You want to know what games I play on Roblox?
What are you playing on Roblox? What do you like? What's a few that you like?
Okay, I play I play War Simulator, I play Bed Wars, and I play Sonic Speed Simulator.
Okay. I have played Bed Wars. I'm terrible at it, and my students had to protect me the whole time. So I needed to ask that so that Navant sees that there are some adults who know a little bit about Roblox, not because I love it, but because my students love it. And
Yeah.
that's something for all of us to learn from is we don't have to be enamored with different YouTubers, but we can learn about them because our kids care about that. That's their world. When we step into their world, we truly start to hear their voice. So thank you again to everyone. Archana, thank you as always.
Yep. Thank you. And have a good
Thank you,
night, good
everyone.
day, everyone. Bye bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
everybody.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. See you.